everyone, my name is Terry, and welcome to my channel, The Pink Dumbbell Problem, and a new episode in the Friday Fact Day series. This is my series where I get to talk about the work I'm doing in fitness, feminism, and philosophy, and today's facts are all about New Year's resolutions. They've been a tradition in Western culture for countless generations. I don't even know how far back they go, but they do put a lot of strain on people, particularly when it comes to things like exercise, diet, weight loss, all of that kind of stuff. So let's unpack some of that right now. Okay, first thing, I am wearing my Cookie Monster shirt, and I wear this shirt quite a lot in the month of December. If I ever find another one of these, I'm buying like 6 copies of it because I wear it so much. And the reason I wear my Cookie Monster shirt in December is, aside from the fact that it's really cute and I'm a huge fan of everything Muppet related, is because people feel really guilty around food and calories and sugar content and indulgence and all of those sorts of things for this whole month, if not sooner. Now, the important thing to remember is that holidays are not normal days. They're special days. And sociologically speaking, the whole idea behind holidays is to give you a break from the norm, from the everyday, from the average, the mundane. Part of that is celebrating with food. And yes, some of us overindulge. I absolutely intend to do that myself. And that's fine, because my style of teaching exercise has nothing whatsoever to do with weight loss. And I really try to discourage people from using exercise as a means for fat loss. Now, before I go on, just a little tangent here, because it's my pet peeve, is when we talk about weight loss, what we really mean is fat loss. And we've euphemized it over the years because people don't like the F word. But the fact of the matter is, you don't want to lose muscle mass. You don't want to lose bone density. You don't want to lose the standard weight of your organs. What you want to lose is body fat. So let's be honest and call it what it is. So I don't teach exercise with the intention that you're going to lose body fat. And I really try to discourage people from thinking that exercise is going to burn off fat, especially if you think it's going to burn them off in specific location. That's a myth called spot reduction, and I will put a link down below for the video on that. That video gets a lot of mileage and have the calories that we need to fuel our bodies, give us the energy we need to go do things in our lives, whether that be the day-to-day, the cooking, the cleaning, the going to work, all of that kind of thing, or fun things where we want to exercise or go dancing or play a sport or enjoy the outdoors. So what ends up happening is January 2nd, the gyms will be packed. And actually, it's not a super well-known thing, but most calendars, if you Google important days of the year or days recognizing different professionals, January 2nd is actually International Personal Trainers Day. And yes, I expect presents. So here's my first tip for New Year's resolutioners. Don't wait until January 2nd. Go buy your gym membership now if you can, and start going and getting acclimatized to the gym environment now, especially if you're brand new to doing that. Fitness classes are a little harder to do early because we're winding a lot of those down for the year because of shopping and parties and people having other priorities. And again, that's fine. Holidays are supposed to be about other priorities. So if you prefer to work out by going to classes, you're not going to find a whole lot. But if you go to rec centers, gyms, etc., you should be able to get in now, because now is the time when we're getting the lull. As we kind of, in a way, this time of year have an inverse relationship with the retail world. They are ramping up. They are at their busiest time of the year. Christmas Eve is absolute pandemonium in most shopping malls and shopping areas. And we are tapering off. We're seeing fewer and fewer people. What'll happen is on January 2nd, that will flip. January 2nd is the day I get to work early. I put new insoles in my shoes. I wear a new hair elastic to keep my ponytail in. I am prepped. Now, the last couple of years haven't been too busy on January 2nd because, of course, with COVID measures and things like that, the numbers have been down. This year, numbers have been recovering steadily throughout the year since January, and we're predicting a big one. So if you don't want to be that person who is in the gym when it's super crowded and there's a ton of strangers around and nobody knows what to do, now's the time to go. The other thing to remember on January 2nd, and really for the whole month of January and going forward, is that if, again, you're brand new to exercising, do not try to learn everything in one go. Quite often what happens is people come in, they get a free session, or they get an orientation with the trainer or something like that, and you feel like you've got to cram all the knowledge into this one free session or this one beginner session. And in fact, that ends up backfiring. And a lot of people come out with their brains absolutely swimming with information. They can't remember any of it the next time they come in. I get a lot of people going, "I'm so sorry, I don't remember a thing you said." Trust me, first of all, it's not that bad. We do expect you to forget a certain amount of the content, okay? We spend years studying and learning how to do all this stuff. We don't expect you to remember it in one session in your orientation at a new gym. But it's just not how the brain works. And unfortunately, there is that instinct to cram it all in. I want you to think of learning to exercise like learning to play a musical instrument. You do not expect to pick up a guitar and immediately be able to play like Eddie Van Halen, right? Like that guy took years and years and years and years and years, plus had just some natural mystical talent bestowed upon him from the graces that allowed him to play at that level. But you know what? He had to learn basic chords. He had to learn the scales. He had to memorize all of that stuff. So it doesn't have to be super complicated. You can keep it really, really basic. But even at that point, don't try to learn 40 things in the first session. Try to learn 3, 4, 5 things really well, and then we can add to it later. And I know affordability is an issue. Not everybody can afford to visit with a trainer. I wish we could. I wish we could have some more open access as part of universal healthcare and things like that included fitness instructors. But there's some good people online, and most trainers, if you just ask one question about one exercise, we don't mind slipping you some information without making it a formal payment thing. The other thing is, of course, look for socialized spaces where you can work out. Look for community rec centers and things where people like me are trainers on the floor, there to give general help and advice to everybody rather than be paid by the hour by the client. Little rec centers like that don't have the money to advertise, so you won't see us putting ads on television and things like that. So maybe you don't know. So go have a look around at what's offered in your community by usually it's city government or town government, but there can be, community centers that are run by nonprofits and charities and things too. So have a look for those options in your area. And my final piece of advice for those who are New Year's resolutioners, this is more for the people who used to work out in the past and are maybe coming back from some hiatus. Do not talk yourself out of it or talk yourself into a really negative space because you feel like you're starting all over again. I did a more detailed video on this a while ago about getting back on the exercise wagon. I'll put a link down below for you to see that. But one of the things we hear constantly, especially on January 2nd, is I took a year, 2 years, 10 years, whatever, away from exercising, and now I'm starting from scratch. So let me be clear. No, you're not. You are not starting from scratch, even though it might feel like that. Sure, you may have gotten into a physical shape that is not what you want and not what you were previously. You may have lost muscle. You may have gained fat that you're not happy with. What you haven't lost is the learning. This is the way I always explain this to people when they say this to me when they come in the gym. If you are a kid in school and things aren't going well, maybe you have an illness, maybe you've got family trauma going on, things like that, and you do not pass the school year, right? You fail, let's say it's the 9th grade. We do not start you the following September back in grade primary. We start you again at the start of the 9th grade. In a very metaphorical way, exercise and keeping the body fit and active is very much the same sort of thing. Your brain still knows what to do. It may be a little rusty. It may take a little practice, but it's not like you've never learned it before. Again, to go back to the music analogy, you cannot play your guitar or whatever your instrument is for decades and then pick it up. And yes, you're going to have to work your way back up and get the strength back in your fingers and get your calluses back and all of that. But you're still going to know quite a few of the basics. There'll be certain bits of information, certain riffs that will still be in your brain from long, long ago. This is kind of like digging up a really old computer file and opening it up in the software again. And for beginners, you haven't experienced that yet, but if you stick with your workouts for somewhere around 6 to 8 weeks, individual mileage may vary, you will get that as well. What happens when you start working out and you see all kinds of improvement right away, that's not actually strength happening in your body yet, in your muscles. Your brain is learning new things. It's literally building new neural pathways from your brain through your central nervous system out to whatever muscle it is that's working. And yes, you're training your muscles, absolutely. But more importantly, at this stage, what you're doing is actually training your brain. And this is why we're seeing research now about things like degenerative muscular conditions, as well as things that affect the brain over time, things like Alzheimer's, Huntington's, Parkinson's, etc., that physical activity, especially when it involves new brain learning, is really helping people cope with these conditions. It is that very special magical moment that happens when your brain is learning something new and your muscles are learning something new and your joints are responding to your muscles pulling on them, that makes the brain healthier and stronger, as well as the rest of the body. A lot of that early stage is rote memorization learning. For some folks, rote learning and rote memorization was really demonized back when you were in school. So hearing that phrase, you may feel, oh, that's bad, can't do that. That was an overcorrection in the education system here in North America, in which those of us that are a bit older learned pretty nearly everything that way, at least up to the end of elementary school. And the idea was to get away from that and have genuine learning and have deeper learning. The problem is that for things that you need to have quick recall of, like scales in music or multiplication tables in math, you didn't get that. So if your initial response to hearing the phrase rote memorization is to be like, oh, nope, stop, it's okay. There is actually quite a lot of educational value in that learning method. But the problem is that education, like anything else that goes in trends, there's peaks and valleys over the various generations. And some of you got some really, really bad messaging about that. And as anybody who's worked in the performing arts, any musicians, like I've already used as examples, but dancers, actors, we all know memorization and rote learning are huge key tools. Don't think of exercise as any different than that. I had to learn a routine of time, steps, and breaks for my last tap dance exam, which was, well, let's just say it was more years ago than I care to recall. That is memorization that was something I used as a tool for the means to the end in that particular circumstance. But it's also something I can still pull out and use as a party trick on New Year's Eve. And yes, it's been, okay, I'll admit it, it's been 27 years since I last had a tap dance class, and I still know that routine of time, steps, and breaks. It's permanently up here. I've developed those neural pathways so strongly that I can still do brain to feet, still do that exact dance combination almost 3 decades later. Our brains can do some pretty cool things, eh? But the problem is when you're a beginner, you want to be able to do it all and you want to be able to do everything well. Or if you've had that time off and you're a little behind where you were the last time you worked out, you get frustrated very easily because you used to be able to lift this and now you can't. So yes, you'll have to get the strength back, but the learning is still there. So whether you are brand new on January 2nd working out for the first time, or you have been with us before, but maybe it's been a while, that's fine. You don't need to have it all perfected the first time you come through the door. Give yourself time to learn. Give yourself time to practice. Think of learning and practicing new exercises just like an actor rehearsing for a play. Give your brain time to learn and give yourself time to practice getting good at exercise. So there you have it, folks. A quick set of tips, really, more so than facts, I suppose. A few things to get you ready for the big day on January 2nd. And listen, it is, again, like shopping on Christmas Eve. I ask you be nice and kind and patient. If there are admin people, front desk people, sales people, be nice to them too. They are run off their feet all day. And the trainers and floor attendants and things like that in various gyms are going flat out. We will run out of gym towels, okay? Please be patient. And give yourself that patience as well. And hopefully it sticks and you find the right gym or the right trainer or the right class for you. And you end up making it a whole new lifestyle for yourself. As always, thank you so much for watching. There's some links and stuff down below, some other videos, some places where you can support my work online. For those who are interested, patrons on Patreon get a special video on New Year's Day, and I've done a couple of them now. The first year it was all neck and shoulder stretches. The second year it was all things to do with loop resistance bands. This year it's going to be a special episode on how to use yoga props. If you are a patron at any level, that will be available to you on January 1st. And if you're not, thank you for your support. Please like, share, click, comment. Help get this channel out there to more people. And as always, happy holidays, drive safe, enjoy the cookies, and of course, lift heavy, fight the patriarchy, and I'll see you in 2023. Bye-bye.